In the high-stakes places where reputations, fortunes, and legacies are made, separating the truly outstanding from the forgotten comes down to one's ability for long-term vision and planning. This is the core idea behind Law 29 of Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power: Plan all the way to the end. Let's look deeper into the nuances and applications of this vital perspective. The problems of short-term thinking. The primary cautionary tale illustrating Law 29 is the tragic downfall of the ambitious explorer Vasco Núñez de Balboa. Despite extraordinary feats like becoming the first European to discover the Pacific Ocean, Balboa's inability to look beyond his immediate desires and plan for the long game prevented him from reaping the full rewards of his triumphs. His first mistake was failing to anticipate the inevitable arrival of political rivals like Pedro Arias Dávila, Pedro Arias, who was sent to take over Balboa's colony. A strategist with long-range vision would have had backup plans to neutralize this clear threat to his power base. Instead, Balboa naively assumed his reputation from the Pacific discovery would protect him. Even after this breakthrough moment of arriving at the shores of the world's largest ocean, Balboa's short-sightedness emerged again. His mind raced ahead to reckless future invasions of the Incan Empire he had heard fables about, despite lacking the resources and manpower to carry out such an ambitious conquest. Rather than playing the long game of accumulating wealth and assembling a professional army, he rushed headlong into poorly planned excursions that left his loyal followers decimated and his dreams of Incan riches even further out of reach. Finally, by not recognizing the political backstabbing that awaited him from rats like Francisco Pizarro, Balboa sealed his downfall. So preoccupied with chasing each new shiny object, he had no entrenched defensive strategy, nor backup plans for betrayal. His failure to map out all potential scenarios past the initial exploration ended with his public beheading, his monumental achievement of the Pacific rendered hollow. The master pragmatist, Otto von Bismarck. In defining the opposite of Balboa's short-sighted impulsiveness, the book points to the endgame strategies of the Prussian master statesman Otto von Bismarck. From an early stage, Bismarck had a clearly defined long-term objective: consolidating the fragmented Germanic states under a unified Prussian-controlled nation. With this target restructuring of the European power dynamics as his guiding light, Bismarck pragmatically and methodically mapped out a decades-long series of calculated military campaigns and political machinations to incrementally increase Prussian influence. Each successive maneuver, from the wars against Denmark, Austria, and finally France, served the sole purpose of eliminating obstacles and laying the foundations for his end goal. Bismarck's strategic genius can be summed up by his bold yet prudent actions. He never overstretched his hand, stopping conflicts once their narrow objectives were achieved, rather than indulging in arrogant, bloated conflicts. Having already planned out the long-term endgame, he rebuffed pressure from his own military generals to expand further and overextend, preventing the sowing of seeds for future instability. Just as crucially, Bismarck displayed the patience and foresight to nurture the right conditions, ensuring that Prussia possessed the financial, military, and political resources required before pushing forward with each escalating phase of his roadmap. He understood that inadequate preparation often proves the Achilles heel for even tantalizing ambitions that require decades of incremental steps. The endgame mentality. At its core, Law 29 advocates for the development of an endgame mentality, in which every action is meticulously conceived and executed with keen awareness of its role in an overarching grand strategy. Those guided solely by present-tense whims and appetites are blinded to future consequences and setbacks. In studying Bismarck, we see how this mentality manifests through a relentless cultivation of strategic foresight and mental modeling. Like a grandmaster playing 3D chess, he mapped out chains of potential actions and reactions across decades, continually updating his backup plans based on emerging dynamics. Every move represented a calculated step towards controlling the final distribution of power. When contrasted against figures like Balboa, who were waylaid by passing impulses, it becomes clear that the true masters are those with the perseverance to maintain perfect clarity on their long-term destination, while still allowing for high-level flexibility on the path ahead. Rather than proceeding haphazardly from one goal to the next, they have an unwavering commitment to the end that prevents them from being distracted by short-term mirages and entrapments. This isn't to say one becomes an inflexible automaton. Indeed, both Balboa and Bismarck demonstrated abundant improvisational capability by prevailing amidst constantly shifting battlefield dynamics and political headwinds. However, it is Bismarck's thoughtful pragmatism, always constraining his tactical decisions to service his ultimate strategic ambitions, that set him apart as a grandmaster of long-range planning. Toward lasting power. As the historical accounts and maxims in Law 29 reinforce, those who conform their impatient mindsets to the rigors of comprehensive advancement planning are the ones who ascend to lasting, consequential power. Empires and legacies are not forged through a string of unconnected short-term pursuits, but rather by those who can sacrifice present-tense gratification for the higher satisfaction of achieving their final audacious objectives. In studying this law, we can identify the key traits and habits of those who actualize their visions through long-range strategic discipline. Envisioning multiple futures. The ability to thoroughly think through and see multiple potential scenarios of how situations could play out over long periods across different areas. Continuously updating and adjusting these visions as new information emerges. Building a strong foundation. Putting in the hard work to develop all the necessary resources, capabilities, and systems required to make your long-term vision a reality. Not getting distracted by small, early successes before the true foundation is in place. Emotional control. Maintaining a calm, rational, and objective mindset, committed to the final goal. Not letting emotions like overconfidence, frustration, or impulsiveness derail your judgment and decisions. Having the resilience to persist through difficult stretches over many years. Adaptable yet focused. Willingness to alter specific plans and approaches if circumstances change dramatically, while still ensuring shifts align with and advance your overarching long-term vision. Avoiding stubbornness. Honest self-evaluation. Continually examining your own knowledge, assumptions, and potential blind spots. Always seeking to learn more from other experts and new information to improve and expand your strategic perspective over time. In essence, the long-range planner achieves the heightened form of rational prudence and foresight that the ancient Greeks admired in mythic figures like Odysseus. By overcoming the human tendency for small-picture temporal focus, they elevate their capacities for shaping the world in profound and lasting ways. Whether in billion-dollar corporate conflicts, military campaigns, or personal ambitions, Law 29 stands as a call for the cultivation of strategic stamina, the grit, discipline, and prudence to maintain perfect clarity on the endgame amidst the turbulence and temptations that litter the road ahead. Only those who can see years and decades into the future while fanatically preparing for all eventualities are deserving of achieving their grandest visions. Now, something important. The content you consume is food for your brain. Do it intentionally. Otherwise, the algorithm is designed to fuck with your brain. Think about it. Now, we're accepting donations in the form of channel subscriptions to support our upcoming project and deliver top-notch content to you. So, hit that subscribe button